Hey everybody, this is Everyday Commentary, and this is a video overview of this knife. And this knife is the Zero Tolerance ZT0770, and this is the one with the carbon fiber handles. Apparently they originally put this out in an aluminum handle, and the aluminum handle was pretty slick, so they offered an upgraded version that has these carbon fiber handles. And this knife is itself a slimmer, smaller rendition of the Zero Tolerance ZT0770, which is a very expensive and hard to find knife. Even in the M390 version, the Devon Thomas Damascus version, with the herringbone Damascus at the top and the Venex steel on the bottom, that knife is an extremely hard to find production knife. And I saw one go for about $2,000 on Arizona Custom Knife Works recently. So finding the 077 is pretty hard. 0777 is pretty hard to do. Finding the 0770 isn't that hard to do, and that's a good thing because this is an awesome knife. So I've had or reviewed quite a few zero tolerance knives, and in general my experience has been that they're really well made knives, that they have great materials, they have really good designs, but that they are just enormous. I had a 0350, which was really quite big, even though it was a small knife. It was very thick, it was very wide. The blade wasn't that long, but it was just a big, chunky, bulky knife. I had a 561 in for review, and that is just a huge knife. I mean, there's no small dimension there. It's 3.75 inch blade length. It's a huge knife. This, however, is a 3.25 inch blade length knife. It runs Elmax steel, has a carbon fiber handle scales. There is an insert in there, and I'm sure you can see it. So it's carbon fiber, but there is an insert here on this side for the torsion bar, and then there's an insert here on this side for a liner lock. The liner lock is pretty easy to disengage. As you can see, there's plenty of real estate for your thumb to get in there and close it. It is an assisted open, which I wish it wasn't, but it is. It takes the pivot from the 777 and integrates that. It looks quite nice. The blade shape here is very interesting. It's sort of a sheep's foot, sort of a drop point. It reminds me a lot of the blade shape on something like the Spyderco, or on the Benchmade mini grip, or the 555 HG mini grip, or the Chris Ruth Sebenza Nzingo. And I found that this blade shape is quite good. It does a lot of things really well. It doesn't do anything poorly. Probably isn't the best stabber, but I'm not stabbing my knives a lot. In fact, hardly at all. I'll note that it does carry the cryo over-the-top pocket clip, which is a really good clip. I like it a lot. And as you can see, the carbon fiber is just very, very, very nice. It's a little smoother on this side, the clip side, than it is on this side. Which is not the side the clip comes attached on. And it's a little coarser over here, but pretty smooth over here. It's nowhere near as smooth as like the carbon fiber on something like the Spyderco Cali 3. But overall, it's very good. You can see here, there's a floating back spacer, or a faux floating back spacer. I'm not sure if I like this design all that much. It just, a lot of gunk gets in there. And then they have this here, which is a little bar, so you can tie a lanyard on the knife. And I really like this, because it gives you a different option for lanyards. And I'm not a huge lanyard fan, but I'm starting to come over to them, and I like it when they implement them differently, and this is definitely implemented differently. I think I said this before, but the blade steel is Elmax, and I found Elmax to be a very good blade steel despite the, again, faux controversy on the internet. The one thing that I would say for this knife is it is exceptionally thin. I mean, this is a very thin knife. So there's the 770, and then there is the Paramilitary 2. So this is the Paramilitary 2 in Elmax as well, and it has the foliage green G10 handles. And this is a bigger knife than the 770. It is also a heavier knife. That is the big trick with this knife. The 0770 weighs almost exactly 3 ounces. And for a knife of this size to weigh 3 ounces, that's an impressive feat. As you can see, the blade length here compared to, I mean, you're not giving up a whole lot in terms of blade length. Maybe like just about a 1/4 of an inch. I think this is like 3.25 inch blade length, and this is a 3.44 inch blade length. you're getting a ton of blade length, and you're getting a ton of knife in a very slim, thin package. And that's one of the reasons why I think this is probably the best ZT knife to carry on an everyday basis. It's pretty. It's pretty enough to be, you know, like showy. It's not so wide. It's not quite as wide as the 0350, which is just really, really wide. It's very, very slim. It doesn't weigh a ton, and it's got a very good utilitarian blade shape. The other knife that's sort of in the same class as these knives, the same size, the same weight, maybe a little less, this is why this is such an extraordinary knife, is the Benchmade 940-1. And all three of these knives are really, really great designs. I think that each one of them has enough unique features to make it worthwhile for you to take a look at. And I think each one of them has enough going for them that you could buy all three of them and not really feel like you have wasted your money. I mean, it's kind of a waste of money, but let's be honest, more than one knife is probably a waste of money. This is a knife that I find to be very, very comparable to this knife, not only because it has the carbon fiber handles, but because its size is almost exactly, I mean, look at that. It's like almost exactly the same. You put them pivot to pivot, they're almost exactly the same. This is a much thinner, slimmer knife than the ZT0770, but there are very few knives that compete with this knife in terms of weight and size. That being said, it is significantly more money than the 770. So if you want a very competitive everyday carry knife and you want something from the ZT line, you like flippers, I really appreciate this blade shape, so I think this is something lots of people would enjoy. You should definitely check this knife out. It hasn't gotten as much acclaim as some of the other ZT knives. It doesn't have the Hinderer name attached to it or the Rexford name attached to it, but this is every bit as good as those knives. Maybe a little better, I mean, in terms of everyday carry purposes. It's such a slim, easy to carry knife. It's got a great pocket clip. It's got a good blade shape. It's got good steel. The only thing I wish is it wasn't assisted open. And I know that Thomas and the rest of the Kershaw crew say that mainstream knife consumers really like assisted opening knives. And while I don't, maybe somebody else does. And as long as they keep selling stuff so that they keep making cool stuff, I can tolerate the assisted opening. It does fire out fast. It's pretty easy to do. So this is a video overview of the 0770, and a review of this knife will be coming soon.